Building on the same security concern, when we build these complex things and we introduce these different components, right? So, with each introduction of each component, you're essentially also increasing your risk area, right? Your surface area for attacks and all these things just gets huge, right? Your blast radius and all that. And so maybe this is not as important for really early stage companies because they're just trying to prototype stuff and all that. But so the moment you move to mid to enterprise, where you have to deal with these SOC compliances or the PCI DSS or things like that, then you essentially really have to evaluate each component. With these different tools, let's just take an example, right? So for example, Prometheus or Robusta or maybe any other tool. Once we bring that into the environment, is there any inherent security concern that comes along with this? If yes, how do you mitigate that?
So it depends on the tool. I can speak about Robusta because it's what I know best. So we have companies that don't want to send any data to the SaaS platform, but they want to use the features of the SaaS platform. So we have a pure open source offering, which obviously is just in your cluster. And then we have a SaaS offering where you can send data to the SaaS platform, get a single pane of glass into all your clusters. And it's built that way because fundamentally, if you want to provide a single point of view into all these different clusters, into 500 clusters, then you don't want to be running in one of those clusters, right? You want to be running in a third-party location. So we have customers who say, I really want this, but I can't send data to your cloud. It's not an option. So for those customers, you have to offer, either you offer an on-prem version, which we do, or you decide that's not something I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to tell those customers to go elsewhere. So in our case, we've chosen to support that and to build it out. But you have to understand that there's a trade-off in terms of engineering resources. When we were at a decision point 6 months ago, where we got the first inquiries about running that SaaS platform on-prem, and we had to make a hard engineering decision. It's like you say about that trade-off, live already stage startups don't care about security. Well, if you don't care about security, you're not going to have Fortune 500 companies. You're not going to have Fortune 500 customers. So you have a trade-off to make. Do you want to have, at the current stage, those Fortune 500 companies? And is it realistic for you, given your current resources, to support them or not? And then there are different paths you can take. So you could say, I'm going to run everything on my own cloud, but I'm going to do SOC 2 compliance. And is that enough to actually satisfy the security concerns there? Or you can say, I'm going to do on-prem, so it'll all be running in an air-gapped environment anyway. So then that reduces the attack surface. And is that enough for those customers? You can approach it differently. Or you can say, I'd love to have you, I'd love for this company to use our product, but we can't do it right now. And we're not going to support that use case. So you have to make hard decisions there. And you don't always know whether that decision is right until 6 months later. So that's a hard decision to make as a product leader. And when you're planning out your roadmap, but I think you are right. There's a fundamental trade-off when you're building these products. You have to understand the end user will take security into account when evaluating you. And you have to decide what security requirements you're going to satisfy and understand that it's a trade-off between engineering resources and not getting to implement other features and being able to provide the level of security that these large companies want.